Welcome to the Box Life podcast. Today, we've got a great guest, Mr. Bryan Callen. Bryan.
You were going to say a great fighter. Damn it! This is Glenn, though. He wanted to show you guys that. You should have a reminder. Just in case. And he's a natural blonde.
Yeah, next to him we got Glenn Holmes.
How's it going?
Glenn, how's it going? Glenn, Mr. Six Figure Home. We call him Six Figure because he's earning six figures doing personal training. What about that?
Yeah.
That's right, mate.
He's making some money. Well, I hear from Brennan Schaub that he's the best in the business.
Yeah.
So
who?
If that's the case, Brennan Schaub, the big, he's my partner. He's my underling.
He's just one of your clients.
He's one of my, he works for me.
Yeah.
He's the big, handsome kid with the great hair.
So, Bryan, people who don't know you, which most people do know you.
Anybody in the English-speaking world knows me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm just an actor in Los Angeles, and I've been doing this for 21 years now in LA. I came out to do Mad TV, and now I'm doing the Goldbergs, and in between I did a bunch of other stuff. Like the Hangovers. I don't know if you guys ever heard of those movies. You're welcome in advance for making those movies funny. Hey, gay! I take full credit for all of it. What was your question?
So do you call yourself an actor or a comedian? Or
I don't know. I mean, I think... I podcast. I make my living as a podcaster, a stand-up comic, and an actor, right? I'm doing, up until recently, I was doing 2 TV shows. And now Kingdom, I got written out of because I'm starting my own show on ABC. Hopefully, we're shooting a pilot. But, I go where the work is. You have to do that. This business is changing so rapidly that if you're just an actor, right, which I came out to be, just an actor, you will be broke. It's very difficult because when you're a medium white guy like me, why would you cast me? I wouldn't cast me unless the role called for a medium white guy. I'm not even that talented. I'm funny, but stand-up is... you nowadays, with podcasting, you can develop your own audience. You have a niche audience, and then you go and perform live. So no matter what, I can make my mortgage, and I love it. But I just got so sick and tired of being an actor only because you have no control over your life. You have no control.
Right.
I mean, Frank Grillo, who's been on this podcast, and I used to commiserate about being in our late 30s and early 40s and not having any money. And now Frank is a fucking movie star at 50. That's so rare, but I saw the kind of hustle it took. Right. You know, I always say, oh, you want to be an actor? Oh, you do? Oh, cool. You're competing against people like me, like Frank, people who are in the, like, just in the trenches and waiting. Frank's out of the trenches now, but, you know, it's just a crazy business.
Right. So with your acting, you got your acting, the podcasting, and the comedy. Which one is your passion? Because, like you said, you go where the money is, but which one? Stand
up. It's like asking like a musician, you know, when they do a movie, how much they like it. It's always, you go back to what you do anyway. My natural set point is to be a silly goose. I love writing, and I love doing it on stage. This is, you know, the surprise of showing up in front of 500 strangers and writing an hour of comedy that has them in stitches and you don't know them. Very difficult to compete with that. Yeah. It's better than sex. I mean, not really. Have you ever seen me in bed? Do I get? No, I don't get nervous for stand-up. It's so funny you asked that too, because I did the Chicago Theater and I was in front of 3,500 people and I had to do 50 minutes, 50. And somebody said, "Are you nervous?" before I went out, and it didn't dawn on me. It didn't even occur to me.
Really, you weren't
It's so natural because it's what I have been doing for so long that I don't put anything around it.
You've got a core fan base now, so it's like the people who come and see you kind of not know what to expect, but they know you. Yeah, but right? They're coming for you, whereas people who are still trying to make it in stand-up, there's still that's something to prove every time they go out, right? But
it never leaves you because you have the problem with having a core audience or a following is that it becomes a responsibility. I can't go back to Calgary or to Canada with the same jokes. Yeah. It's not like music, man. I got to come up with a whole new bag of tricks, especially if you have a following. Yeah. And that's kind of the responsibility that never leaves you, is that you better keep coming up with ways to surprise your audience and be original. Isn't it a lot like being a boxer on your level where you box somebody and they start to figure out your patterns? Yeah. You've got to come up with a new set of patterns to surprise them, or get really good at hiding the patterns you always go to.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. Like, you keep the basics right. Yeah. The basics are always right.
1 and 2.
But then you've got to change the game plan. So that's kind of similar, right?
It never ends. It's like owning a business. Life is a verb. The idea that there's some set point where, you know, for all intents and purposes, somebody said, you've made it, you know, because I'm on a TV show and I've got this really popular podcast. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. Yeah. No, I haven't. No, I haven't, because of course I have to buy a house I can't afford. So now I got to fucking,
Right.
I mean, it never ends. It's not even about that. It's more about I got to keep myself surprised. I have so much to do.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I had for you. Like, how do you do that? How do you keep motivated? Now you've got this Tesla, you've got a nice big house in Calabasas.
Yeah.
You're earning a decent living. How do you stay motivated to do better? Why are you not one of these people who, because I know you're not, but who sit back and like, rub
well,
hands together?
because in my opinion, the only thing that matters as an artist is to try to be original.
Right.
The public embrace, as it gets larger, can ruin and dull your instrument. I hate to talk in this very sort of lofty, arty way because it annoys me, but I'm being quite honest in that you better get back to why you're doing this. And so I'll give you an example. When you hear a great piece of music, you hear somebody sing. Sometimes you ever feel that thing where you're in the car and you want to cry? It's like grief and joy are having sex in your brain. Yeah. It's like you suddenly feel like overwhelmingly generous. You forget you're afraid. Yeah. I do this joke where I'm like, I go from wanting a biblical flood to wash all the a-holes off the road to Andra Day comes on with Rise Up. And I'm like, even terrorists have mothers, I want to hug everybody. And so I think art in that sense is very important for a culture because it is the cornerstone, is the expression in high relief of its culture at its best. Think about anything. Think about American culture. American culture is a mixture of all these wonderful races, especially black. What do you think rock and roll is? Right. It was the gospel. It was inspired by the church. It was an expression of our spirituality, of our struggles, of racial struggle, right, of oppression. And then you hear this woman like Andra Day get up, who grew up in a one fucking bedroom with her mother, and she sings Rise Up at the Grammys, and she does that tribute to the Bee Gees. And you're just like, I watched that and I went, whoa! I couldn't help it. I was like, God damn! And I was alone. And I suddenly became like a black preacher.
Right.
So in that sense, the long story is what keeps me motivated is that art is inspiration. It's my job to inspire or at least surprise myself because I can. Because I am privileged enough to live in a country that allows me the opportunity to do that. I have the, representative government, enough to eat, all that shit. But God, that's a deep answer.
I know, a very deep answer.
These guys are crying. Your engineers are fucking tearing.
We got to the Grammys and the Bee Gees for
motivation.
Dude, that's what I do. Yeah. I take you on a circuitous route.
You took us on a trail there. Yeah. So, but obviously you're not thinking about that shit when you're getting up to work in the morning, or you got when you're tired and it's time to go. Look, man, it's like this. You're right, and I don't. So when you have to train, and you made it to a very high level, a bronze medal in the Olympics, I am sure that training, a lot of the days when it was raining, when it was cold, when your body ached, training felt like getting into a cold bath. Yeah. It sucked on a level where you were just like, what am I doing? I don't like this anymore. It all sucks, and I don't even care about winning, right? Right. And somehow you make it through and you win that bronze medal. And that doesn't even mean you're happy after that, because you're the kind of guy that's never satisfied, I know. So it's the same idea. It's sort of the same idea, like trying to get creative and motivate yourself sometimes is like getting into a cold bath. But if you show up, see, attendance, showing up is 60% of the battle. Yeah. Fucking just show up. I'm telling you, man, you sit in a chair, you get in the ring. If you show up to the gym, you're going to do something. Right. And I don't think being creative is any different. I don't think the muse has to hit you. Fucking great writers sit at their typewriter and wait for something to happen, but they have to sit at their typewriter. I can't believe I said typewriter. Are we in the fucking 1960s? You did turn 50 last month, right?
I did. I'm half a century, motherfucker.
You've used a typewriter.
I got tight-fitting skin, though. Marvel at my face for a second. Let's take a minute. And go. What?
Do you find like having a break gives you more creative inspiration, or do you find you just have to stay in it all the time?
I don't know. I don't know the answer. I suppose you have to. I mean, look, I have children. They are my break. Yeah. I am not. Nobody's going to accuse me of being, Michelangelo and painting the Sistine Chapel until the paint dripped in my eyes and I went blind. I'm not that. I wish I was. I wish I forgot to eat because I was being so creative, but I don't.
Yeah.
So
how do you deal with your work-life balance? That must be, I mean, with your missus, you've got 2 kids, podcast, comedy, acting. Where do you find time for your family?
Because you don't put any fencing around work. Work is a form of expression, and your family and your friends and your social life and boxing and tennis and whatever you do should inform that expression. You can be writing and working when you're driving, standing in line. You know, Francis Ford Coppola said that he did The Godfather, all that. He said screenplays are written on the hoods of cars and waiting in line. There's no sacred space. Just always be creating. When you're boxing and you're thinking, you get better when you're fucking standing there in the shower thinking about the pattern where you should move your head.
So when you're with your family, is your mind on work or is it on family?
It's on other girls. Now let me explain. Because I cheat. Where's the camera? Yeah. Oh, what's the matter? Is this a puritanical podcast? Man can't get his dick wet once in a fucking while without losing his fucking house. Huh? The girls are too hot. I hope my wife hears this. What do you got to say about it? Sorry. Was this it? What were you asking? No, I don't know. I don't know, man. What did you ask me for real?
I asked you, when you're with your family, where's your mind at?
Well, that's what's great. No, that's what's great about. I answered it. Well, that's what's great about kids is that they force you to be in the moment. My kids, I'm not allowed to be on my phone. Right. I got to be there with them.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want to teach them things. I think what I love about my children is I get to teach them things. I'm sending them to Box and Burn, by the way, very soon.
Yeah,
for real.
We trained
you know that I'm very close to you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Son and wife, right?
So I 100% am sending my son and my daughter. My son's only 5. He's still a little young, so we'll get him in.
We'll get him in.
Yeah.
I know I struggle with it a lot, and Glenn does as well. But when we're with our kids, it's so hard. You've got to switch your phone off, but it's so hard to switch your mind off. See, the thing is with me, the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning is work, and the last thing before I go to sleep is work. And that was the same with boxing. When I was boxing, first thing in the morning, and I'm just thinking about the thing all the time. Yeah. Unless I get some wine or something to switch us off, I find it really hard. Do you have trouble with switching off?
Always.
What do you do?
It's always a continual struggle, you know, and I think that what's interesting about that is that the goodies come from the fact that you're obsessed. You know, this is why you have this incredibly successful gym. You know, I was talking about this, what you've done with this gym, and I've seen so many gyms fail, and I've seen so many gyms come and go, and you open this boxing gym in this garage, in this warehouse sort of thing, and there's no sign, you know, right off Lincoln, and you can't get in. It's too crowded to even get in. Well, what is it about that? You know, it's Glenn. It's Glenn, and it's his adorable tattoos on his calves and his beautiful blonde hair. But also it's the fact that you were able to organize this place where you created a very satisfying experience for your customers. Right. That takes a great deal of obsessive work. Yeah. And I think like it goes back to your biggest strength is your biggest weakness. How do you shut it off? That's the art of life. Nobody teaches us the art of life.
Do you need to shut it off? I mean,
I think you do for your children to an extent, right? Like, I think to an extent you have to at least be present, and the children and your wife and people need to be seen. They want to be seen, and you can never say, so we all have an emotional life. And the biggest mistake you can make, for example, when you're arguing with somebody, is to say your emotions are stupid, or your emotions don't matter, or you're being an idiot. The problem with that is that whatever those emotions are, and I have this trouble with my wife because she's a woman, she thinks very differently, but those emotions she's having are very real to her. Right. I may not agree with the origins of the emotion. Maybe the origins of what she thinks I did are wrong, but it doesn't matter because she feels that way. And if you don't look and understand and see that emotion in her and in your children, and if you don't acknowledge that emotion, because think about why we get mad. We get mad when people don't understand where we're coming from, man. We get mad when people don't honor our frustrations, our pain, our suffering, our work. When somebody disrespects you, what you get mad about is the fact that they're not taking into account the work it took to get here.
Right.
When you see a young man hit an old lady and take her purse, it's a much graver injustice because that young man is not honoring what it took that woman, no matter what it was, to get to that age of 80. You're not honoring her journey. So human beings want to be acknowledged for what they've been through. They want to be acknowledged for what they're feeling. And I think a family is the same way. The way you manage a family is by taking that into account. And actually, even if you have to fake it, bro, that's the other thing. Even if you have to fake it, you've got to be pretending to listen. Because we fucking have trouble listening.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because you want to talk to me about... My wife wanted me to talk to me about, she was telling me where they were going, and she had this thing and another story, and it's not paying the bills, bro, and I'm not learning anything. So I'm like, holy shit, somebody get me the fuck out of here. I'm bored.
Yeah.
But I've learned how to go, wow, oh yeah, of course, babe, yeah, right. And I look at my eyes, like my eyes narrow, and I furrow my brow, and I laugh at the wrong things. I could give a shit, and the whole time I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. Why can't I be attracted to guys so I can marry one? I wish I liked dick, but I don't, so now I gotta live with a fucking alien. Yeah. Sorry. Look, man, my son, I got him dead to rights. My son, I completely understand. Hungry, tired, he likes to fight, stab, and shoot. It's all penetration. My daughter's just a fucking alien. She likes to twirl. I'm like, why are you twirling? Why would you turn your back on your enemies like that? Makes no sense.
I love how you could just go from like the deepest shit ever.
I love.
I'm a comedian.
I love going out with you. We've not been out for a while, but I remember.
I miss you. I really miss you. I want to say that on record. We had so much goddamn fun, and then I stopped coming to Boxenburn because I followed Wayne McCulloch, who I love, but I met him here.
Yeah.
And then I followed him initially because I couldn't come here because there was no shower.
Right, yeah.
I couldn't, and so anyway, I went there. But I miss you. I miss hanging out.
Yeah, I miss hanging out. I mean,
we had too much fun.
It was one of the first times I went out. We went to Scopa with Brendan and a couple other people, and you were buying some really expensive red wine for us. So we were getting tipsy on this red wine, and I've met you a few times. I trained you a lot in here, and I knew who you were and all that. But then I was sitting here, and you were talking, and I was thinking, this bloke is a proper smart bastard. He's very, very smart and intelligent. And then you start telling us about the books that you were reading and all that, and I'm getting drunk, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm just in awe of Bryan. Just like, wow, this guy.
I'm just older.
This guy.
It's all coming back to you right now.
And that's one thing that you really made me realise is with age, you get experience and you learn more, and I knew that from you. But as well with you reading all your books and all that, I remember that night I got an Uber home and I was drunk of all this red wine you'd bought us, and we're getting an Uber home and I went on Amazon and I was drunk and I was ordering all these books, meditation, 4 work week, all these.
Good.
I've never read a book in my life though, right? So I forget about it, go to bed next day, wake up and there's all these books. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh shit, Bryan. And I still haven't read one of those books.
Well, it's an important, I'm glad you brought that up because, when you're older and you've done some reading, what happens is you can come off with younger people as being smart. And that's a very tricky word because you're a very smart guy. I know you are. I'm sure you're very smart. I know how good a trainer you are, and I know how you can mix it up. And if Brendan speaks highly of you, then you're definitely a smart guy. And so there's this idea that, well, Bryan's smart, but no. In fact, I've just been exposed to different ideas. And I could break down those books for you in a half hour or less, probably 15 minutes, and you would be able to absorb those ideas, and it would change your perspective. And you would be, quote unquote, smarter. Really, you just have more knowledge based on. Right. It'd be like if you saw me boxing and I was doing some, I don't know what I was doing. I was doing open hand kung fu technique, and you're like, Bryan, you're gonna get punched in the face if your hand isn't up, and there's a different way to do it. It's literally learning how to build an intellectual arsenal, an intellectual framework, scaffolding for how to. And you know why education is important, in my opinion? I think education is important because it teaches you the difference between a good idea and a bad idea. It teaches you the meaningful difference between things. And one of the things you'll find is that people that don't know as much will always compare things. They'll say, that's just like this. It's the smart people that can tell you the difference between this and that, between A and B. And when they articulate the difference, usually what you do as a human being is you go, I felt that, but I didn't know how to articulate that. I didn't understand how to articulate that.
Right.
And what you see a lot of times, like in our politics now, when you see the right and the left, you watch the Trump team and you watch the liberal team. And the liberal team, what they do, the way they fight Trump is they go, you are a sexist, a homophobe, a racist, and a shithead. And then the Trump team goes, you guys are liars, you're dishonest, you're not American, you're pieces of shit, and all that. And nobody ever gets anywhere. There's no ideas transfer between parties, right?
That's because of the way the media in this country is set up, because it's so separated.
It's so separate.
It's just like, this channel's going to feed me this channel's going to feed me that. There's nothing...
So now we don't know... Yes.
Nothing gets crossed.
Yes, so now we don't know...
The only time it ever gets crossed is in the presidential debates, and that's
even
not
then,
that great.
But that's a very good and astute point, because so you have a liberal media over here, you have a conservative media over here. They're not talking to each other.
Yeah.
And depending on who is president, that one media machine bolsters their agenda, and the other one criticizes it. And what happens is we just keep two camps.
And you know, the underlying problem of all that is they're in the business of entertainment and ratings and nothing else.
That's right.
That's the problem.
And so what education can help you do is to come up with a different idea. Yeah.
Were you talking about fucking politics here?
No.
He started it. He started
Bryan Callen on the podcast and was sitting here talking about fucking Donald Trump.
No. It's not even about Trump. It's just about knowing, like, when something is a threat and knowing how to fight it.
Right.
You need that in fucking life, dude. If you have the education board and they tell your daughter, they say, hey, listen, man, your daughter, the school lunch, because somebody hijacked the Food and Nutrition Board, school lunches now could be 25% simple sugars. And you as an athlete go, hold on, my daughter's drinking chocolate milk, which has as much sugar as a soda, and she has a Snickers bar and a piece of pizza. Right. I wonder why my daughter's having problems concentrating or whatever. As an educated guy, you go, wait, I've done some reading on nutrition. I know something about being an athlete. I don't think that's the best thing for him. That's an example of how education can help you fight a bad idea. That's
so all. Do you think with education, your education is a lot comes from reading books?
I think it comes from reading books. I think it comes from the benefit of having been brought up around people that also read books and could show me and teach me where to look for the good ideas, and how to expose myself to good ideas, to make my own mind up. Yeah. I think that's important, you know. What bums me out is that education feels like this far-off thing for most of us. Like, it's for you over there. It's not. Yeah. It's not that hard to educate yourself.
Well, I believe everyone learns different, and reading books for you, it works for you, or it might not work for me.
Right.
There's knowledge is power, right? That's pretty much a good way to sum it up.
Yeah.
But I think someone whose knowledge and education and experiences come from streets or struggle or whatever can be smarter than somebody who's like, I read books. And
now you're talking about two different types of intelligence.
Two totally different types of intelligence.
One is theoretical.
But they're smarter in different ways.
Yeah,
they can get stuff done in different ways. They can be more successful in different ways.
Well, you need both.
Right.
So
totally.
So I'm not going to... So I could read all the books in the world on boxing and come to you and say, dude, Eddie Futch in his book, you got to keep your hand up. And you would say, that's great, Bryan, sometimes.
Yeah.
That's great, Bryan. It depends.
Yeah.
Why do you know that? You have practical fucking knowledge.
Yeah.
So there's theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge. They both inform each other. You can use both. That's why you get a coach who teaches you,
It's funny, when Brendan retired from fighting full-time podcasting, I met him for coffee. I think one of the first times I met him for coffee after there. And he fucking come up with a book in his hand like this. You've been reading the book. I went, you've been hanging around with Bryan too much. I said, oh no, he's reading like Steve Jobs' book. But he's smart as well. Brendan's very smart.
So what happened to Brendan was he was around some of my friends and we were talking. And Brendan realized he didn't really know a lot of what we were saying.
Right.
But he wanted to. And so he started asking me some questions. And, again, very smart guy. He just needed to be told where to look.
Right.
That's all it is, man.
Yeah.
And, you said it yourself. You went, this motherfucker's smart. I want to learn this stuff. And you ordered a bunch of books. Yeah. Now, nobody told you how to read those books. You can't just fucking order a bunch of books.
Right.
You know what I mean? You need somebody to kind of bring you through it a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Because I really want... I remember that night when you were telling us about these, I was like, I need this in my life. I think that meditation book, what was it called?
Was it The Art of Learning, maybe?
I'm sure it was called meditation. Maybe I ordered the wrong book.
Maybe.
No, you said it was definitely called Meditation. By some. If you told me the author, I would be remember.
I can't remember. But you should be my student. I want you in knickers, and I'll have a ruler, and I'm going to spank your fucking ass, or maybe just frap your knuckles, English style. Didn't you guys get paddled?
Paddle? What's that?
You had a paddle taken to your backside?
Not me, mate.
Not in school.
Not
Did you get hit in school?
Not
in the British system?
No, not. I mean, I'm 31. You're fucking 50. If I was 50,
back in the day,
maybe my parents did. Do you know what, mate? You're 3 years younger than me dad.
That's so crazy.
My dad's 53.
That's why I've always wanted you to call me daddy.
So, moving forward, Bryan, like now, like we say, you're successful. You seem successful from the outside looking in. What's your goals now? Like, I know you've just told me you think you'll get a new TV show for yourself, but what's your real goals and ambitions?
It's funny, man. I feel like I'm living my goals, and so
That's
everything,
awesome.
and so everything is. I guess it gets like I feel so lucky, and I don't think it gets better. It gets more. I mean, there are certain things I want to do, like I'm writing a script that Joe Carnahan has helped me on.
You're writing a script?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And so Joe Carnahan's been kind of helping me through this because he really liked the idea. Yeah. It's a big challenge to write a movie, but with a guy like that in my corner, that's a challenge. So that anything, I like doing anything difficult. That's why I like boxing. Yeah. It's impossible because sparring is, well, fucking impossible. Yeah. But I like doing it because it humbles me and it makes me, you know what, I like doing things that are difficult because it opens different channels in my brain. Right. So I guess the answer is I want to keep understanding and I want to keep creating.
You seem like you're just hungry for more and more success.
Always. I'm always hungry. I've never not been hungry. I have so much to do. Look, I get it from my father. The dude is 76 years old. He obsesses over his golf swing and he speaks fluent Italian. All he does is practice his Italian. He with a woman in Italy, he Skypes. Now, for me, I'd have to be like, but he Skypes and she gives him a lesson for 2 hours at a time. How about that?
Wow.
At 76. And I said, why are you learning Italian? He goes, because if I stop doing this, I will die.
Really?
Yeah, he keeps himself occupied.
Yeah.
So life, again, is a verb. There's no getting there.
What's that phrase we said before? You don't get old. You don't stop working out because you get old. Yeah. You get old because you stop working out. 100%. It's kind of the same thing with the brain, right?
Yeah. 100%.
On a scale of 1 to 10, have you got that list? On a scale of 1 to 10, Bryan, what would you say you're at for boxing?
For boxing? On a scale of 1 to 10, honestly, for what? For what though? For a 50-year-old actor?
No, not for a 50-year-old actor. For a guy who's in boxing fitness training. An actor.
I don't want to give myself any credit at all, so I'm going to say a 3. But maybe other people would say I'm a little better than that.
Come on, what would it be?
All I know is that
you know you're better than a 3.
No,
you're better than a 3.
At least after 3 years, I spar as much as possible. And I've gotten to a point where I have patterns where I can if the guy's not a real boxer, I can hit you. So I don't know what that. I don't know. Maybe a 4. 4.
Glenn's got some.
So there's a little league table here of celebrities and actors who are boxers.
Well, Brendan Schaub saw me the other day. Yeah. And I did a little moving around with somebody, and I was hitting mitts, and Brendan. This is a huge compliment to me because I was taking a shower and he goes, hey, dude, I know I make fun of you, but you can straight up box. Yeah. And that was cool to hear from him because he doesn't give it away. So I don't believe him, but I'll take it. It was nice to hear.
Well, when I was training you, I would definitely give you a high 8 when I was training you. But now you're training with someone else, you probably back down to a 3. Yeah.
God damn it. You won't train me. You don't care about me anymore.
So I had Stallone's at the top, right?
Sylvester Stallone. Got to be at the top.
Has anyone actually seen him box outside of...
Hold on. We got to stop. Sylvester Stallone is not at the top. I'm going to take him down because if he's at the top, then I'm above him.
Well, he's only at the top because
I'm above him when he fought. What?
He's only at the top.
Sylvester Stallone, and he's dead.
Hey, look at me, motherfucker. Listen to me right now. You take that shit back. You put him in the ring with me in his day, and I'm talking his best day, and I'm 50 right now, and I will knock him out. Yeah.
Not a chance.
I'll knock. You put all your money on me. All right. Look at me in the eye right now. Don't ever fucking mention Sylvester Stallone. I love him.
And he's dead.
I love him.
And he's dead.
I love him in his day, but I'm not hearing a fucking peep out of that guy. Not a peep.
In his day. He's about 70 now, but in his day.
In his day. In his pit when? When he was 30? Put him in the ring. My hands are already getting hot. Who else we got? My hands are already getting hot.
Mario Lopez.
I hear he's good. Mario's been boxing a long time. I don't want any part of Mario.
Hilary Swank.
I'll have sex with her.
Yeah. Frank Grillo.
Frank, I'm not getting in the ring. We did a little jiu-jitsu. We rolled one time. That was fine. But I'm not getting in the ring with that guy. He boxes way too much. He's been doing it since he's 19, and he's got a screw loose, and I'm not going to get...
He's definitely got a screw loose. He comes in here, hits the bag for 2 hours by himself, just smashing the bag to pieces.
For an actor, that guy can box, true or false?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. I think he's great. Look, you would think he was a professional boxer.
He spars.
He spars with pros, and he gets hit, and he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And he still does it.
I want no part of Frank. Frank is the toughest guy... toughest actor in Hollywood.
Are we putting Frank at the top of the boxing?
You have to.
Above Stallone?
Yes. What? I'm fucking...
Hold on.
I will fucking use my kung fu on both of you right now. Oh, my fucking hand. This is the ego clock. Do you see that on the fucking camera? I will stop your heart with one a day. Sorry, you guys. That's
Who else we got?
Next, Mickey Rourke.
I love Mickey Rourke. I don't care. I would never... I'm sure he would beat me because he's Mickey Rourke, and I love him so much. And he's also big, and he did box when he was younger, and he came from an abusive background, and I love him. And in many ways, he's my favorite actor. So yes, Mickey Rourke would break my jaw because I wouldn't even lift my hands to him.
You know what? In his day, I think Mickey Rourke was a bit of a boy in his day.
He was.
Tough.
Did you see his last fight?
Yeah, that was
in
sad.
Russia.
Yeah, that was weird. But Mickey, when he was younger, did a little boxing. He's big and athletic. He's big and strong, you know?
Maybe in his day he was.
In his day, yeah.
Mark Wahlberg. I've never seen him box.
Well, I met him, and he was a little mean to me, so I'm telling you now, I would fight him right now.
Yeah. Tell us what happened.
And I don't know how good a boxer is, and I don't care.
Right there, just look into that.
No, it's okay. If we're going to fight, and if I started losing as a boxer, I would double leg him, and I'd pick him up, and I would climb him, I'd bring him to the ground, and he'd be in my world. And I'm not even a good jiu-jitsu guy, but I did wrestle for a long fucking time. Both you fucking boxers should know that. So mind your P's and Q's, because I know you'd light me up with your hands. I start using my feet. I start going right. See right down here?
Me, you wouldn't get
You
there.
see that, dude? See that right there? This is where,
uh-oh.
I look at you, I go, uh-oh, and now you're in deep water, and now you smell me. Yeah.
What's that called? That hold?
I don't know, dude. It's just me getting a hold of your legs.
Come on, mate. Why was it not nice to you?
You know what? I was sitting at a table with Will Ferrell and Derek Jeter and Mark Wahlberg and Jeremy Piven, and I kind of said hi. I smiled at him to say hi because we were across the table, and he snubbed me and didn't smile, and I was like, whoa, oh, okay. And he kind of looked at me like I was some dude. I was like, well, you can't do that to me because my ego is very big, and I'm already jealous of you and your career, and you're shorter than I am, and you're not the athlete I am. So if we gotta mix it up, we'll fucking mix it up. And please understand that as much as I love you in movies and the guy in The Fighter that I really love was Christian Bale, and I'll play your role right fucking now. And I'll tell you something else about him, and I like him. I mean, he's a good actor. He's a good guy, I'm sure. I got a little problem with him. Anything he can do, I can do better. How's that sound? As an actor.
Sounds great.
I feel like I'm on WWE Raw right here.
Yeah, dude, I don't play around. By the way, if Mark Wahlberg walked in and he was just remotely nice to me, I'd be like, hey, how are you? I'm a two-faced. I have no backbone. I don't have any staying power, and I never stay angry. All he'd have to do is smile, and I'd be like, hey, what's up, man? How are you? I'm a huge fan. So I'm a liar. But I'm very brave, like here. Go on.
Russell Crowe?
Well, I heard Russell Crowe's a bully, so I would have enjoyed very much fighting him. Again, if you're a bully and you walk around like you're a tough guy, I'm 100% going to fight with you.
Why is he a bully? Why did you hear that?
I've just heard stories that he was very difficult. Maybe it's because he drank a lot. He's a very talented guy, you know, but his career kind of fell off a little bit because he was difficult, from what I understand. And I've just heard that he could be because he was sort of this big, thick Aussie. And when you're on a film crew with a lot of artists, nobody's physical. So actors love to, you know, macho actors like myself, but not as much because I know how tough I'm not. But a lot of macho actors have never really been punched in the face, never really did a lot of sports when they were younger. They will tend to ruffle their feathers. They like to walk around like, you know, don't mess with that guy. He's a rogue. He's a real rogue. He may be good at making believe and wearing makeup, but not making a mistake. He's also legit. He's also got a legit side.
That, you know.
You see it all the time. You're a real fighter. How many actors like me come in and you know, I like when I hit mitts. I like pretending. I literally at 50 still try to act like a tough guy. Like I want the girls in the class to watch me. That's how sad I am. And no actor's any different. But if it came down to, you know, again, you punch me in the face and all of a sudden it all goes out the window. So, yeah. So the who is this we were talking about?
We got Jake Gyllenhaal and Chris Brown left.
I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't think he's a boxer, but I like him as an actor, and I think he seems like a good guy. He wants no part of me.
That's what I heard.
Now, Chris Brown is a good dancer.
Really?
Yes, and he looks very athletic. And so if Chris Brown has technique, I think Chris Brown might light some people up.
And he's a rogue.
And he's a real rogue.
He's a real rogue.
He bites girls and hits them. He's a rogue.
Do you know you've met all these celebrities and all these... that's just rogue on there.
You know who beat me up was James Caan. We had a scene and he had to keep beating me up. And you know James Caan? Godfather, Sonny from Godfather?
Right, yeah.
And he was on Las Vegas, and he was he was very...
He's
very
old,
rough
right?
with me.
How old is he?
He fancies himself a tough guy. He hangs with mafia guys.
He must be 60.
He's a million years old. He's very old right now. He's a fossil. I think he's like 80. For real.
So all these celebrities you've met and hang around with, do you ever get starstruck? I asked Frank the same question, and I've got a feeling that your answer is going to be the same.
The only person that I was starstruck, there are two people that I were kind of starstruck with who I spent legit time with. One was Bruce Springsteen. I talked to him for an hour and a half about music, about how he writes songs, about acoustics, because I'm a comic, and we were talking about how theaters make a big difference. Yeah. Of course, he plays the LA Coliseum, and I play fucking, Laugh Boston, which I'll be at Laugh Boston March 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Come on out, guys, but only if you like laughing super fucking hard for an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, back to this. And then the other one was Tom Cruise. I did a reading with Tom Cruise. I spent about 5 hours with him, and then I saw him at an Oscar party where I danced next to Madonna, next to her. But there was everybody who was famous. And then I started talking to Tom Cruise because I did a reading with him, and we had this really long hour-and-a-half conversation. Really? And I was like, maybe we'll be friends. I was like, I'll join Scientology if I can be friends with him. I'll even make out with him as a straight man. I don't give a shit. I just want to be friends with him. Then that never happened. He got into a SUV with curtains, not even tinted windows. They had curtains like the way a king does.
Yeah. What Frank said, and I thought you would have said the same, was he doesn't get starstruck by actors, but by athletes, by boxers or martial artists.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I thought you were.
I don't know though, Tony. Because I have some experience now with boxing and fighting and what happens to people when they retire, and when how thankless it can be for a lot of fighters. The price you pay when you have this incredible skill, and it's so hard to be a great fighter, but it's very difficult to make a living afterwards. A lot of fighters are impulsive. A lot of fighters don't have people telling them what to do with their money. There's a lot of problems. And so you pay a physical price. So I always am starstruck around fighters. I have so much respect for boxers and fighters. Yeah. Maybe because I've tried doing it and I know how hard it is, but also because it's the rawest form of sport. Right. Isn't it? I mean, fighting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
especially MMA stuff.
It's also no joke, man. Like when you get into a ring and you're going to box, wrestling is so different, and jiu-jitsu is so different because you can be passive, you can have a great time. When you're boxing, there's no way to not hurt each other at a higher level. Right. You guys are hitting each other, and that
MMA for me is even more scary because I've grew up boxing. But when they shut that cage and then they lock it, it's like someone's about to get knocked out.
It's way more. It's way more. What's the word? Like
barbaric.
Than boxing is like, I think, like it's classy, it's historic, or like, but the MMA side of it with the cage, where they search you down before you go in the cage and all that. It's like really intense.
Yeah, Joe Rogan said it's as close to watching two men or women kill each other with their bare hands as you can get.
I always say it's modern day Rome.
It is. Did you see that movie, the Jimmy Fox one, where he was a slave? What was that again? It was a great film.
Oh, Django?
Yeah, I love that film. Mm-hmm. But where they've got the the rich guys got the two black men rolling around fighting to the death. It's kind of like that, but not to the death. Right. That's what it's like. And it's like, I've thought sometimes, like, how the hell is this still legal? Really?
Yeah, but there's so much technique, and I think it's as when you have a ref. And the other thing is that with MMA, at least when you get knocked out, it's over. Or at least when you get submitted, it's over. With boxing, you get lifted back up and you can fight again. You've been concussed. Right. And you can have that happen to you 3 times in a row, which is what causes the real damage.
Scary.
Yeah, and I think that in that sense, boxing is more dangerous.
Right.
You know.
Well, this has been a really good and fun podcast, and I've really enjoyed it. We've got a request of someone called Brad Dobbin saying, before you get Bryan to go, can you have him do a Mackem accent, a Sunderland accent like me? I say, does
a Sunderland accent? Well, I've been listening to you, and I'm trying to do that. You've got sort of, it's all in the front of your mouth, you know, talk like that. I'm not sure where you're from, but I sound a bit Scottish. But mate, you say mate.
Mate.
I do. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. That's
that sounds good. I like that.
I fucking love it.
Not bad.
About Blackburn.
Blackburn is from Liverpool, or what is that? Is that down south?
North.
Lancashire.
Yeah. Bryan, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Right at Box and Burn. I'll be here training 6 hours a day with my shirt off and a bandana. Hope you don't mind that. My shorts will be tight. My shorts will be too tight. How's that sound? I'll do damage to my genitals. You know what I'm saying, buddy?
You've got a sausage on you as well.
I got a piece on me. Yeah. And that's the most important thing about this podcast. Just know that if I had my pants off and these guys had their pants off and I was 10 hut, if you know what I mean, at attention, all right, I would dwarf these two amateurs, okay? I would fucking dwarf the blondes, okay? Because they got a couple nubs. They walk around with their 4-inch nubs from England, and along comes the fucking Italian sausage. You can find me at Bryan Callen, BryanCallen, or just turn on your telly. I'm on every fucking channel there is. You know why? Because I'm 6 feet tall and I'm successful as shit. So I'll see you filthy animals later. What the fuck am I even doing here? Hold mitts for me. Hold mitts. Hold mitts.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bryan.
Thank you.